So in this quick video, I'm going to talk about my 6-step roadmap to sketching success using these mountain bluebirds. So the first concept is the idea of blocking in. And so that means just looking at your critter, whether it's a bird or a flower, and looking at the general shapes. So like the oval of the body, triangles of the wings, the tail, circle of the head, that sort of thing. Next, we're going to look at the idea of proportions. And so basically that means that once you've added the first part of the subject, like for example, the circle of the body, you'll be adding other parts like the head and the tail. And so then you'll be starting to think of how big in proportion to the body is the head. So in this case, I would think about the head being maybe a half to the third of the size. Next, we'll move on to the idea of alignment, and that means looking at structures and how they're aligned to each other. So for example, we could look at the way the bill is aligned to the chest, and noticing that it goes far to the left here of the chest. And noticing maybe the alignment of these wings, how they're pretty much lined up. Or the alignment of the back, pretty straight line there. Or an alignment of the two legs, which in this case, they're parallel to each other. Next is the concept of flow lines. And in that case, what I mean by flow lines is if you imagine that your subject, like this bird, is a boulder in a stream, and the lines you're going to be drawing to represent it would be like the water going around the boulder. Can you think of the fact that line might be very smooth without any ripples, or is it going to be having currents and eddies as it goes around? So, for example, here would be a nice gentle line, whereas here would be a real sharp line with some eddies and some currents. Next is the concept of angles. And so that means the angles you can see, and there's lots of those that are really good examples here on this bird. We have like less than a 90-degree angle here, maybe a 30-degree angle here. There's an angle inside this tail, an angle here. So when you're thinking about that, you can think of, is it a 90-degree, 120-degree, a 30-degree angle? That kind of thing. And lastly is the concept of negative shapes. And so these birds have a lot of great examples of negative shapes. Those are shapes or spaces that are around the bird. And so in this case, it's the white shapes. And so we can see some of those like between the legs here, between the wing and the tail here, and between each of the primary feathers here. And I find that to be a really useful concept when drawing, to look at those negative shapes. So I hope this review of my 6 steps can really help you to draw more accurately in terms of blocking in, looking at proportions, alignments, flow lines, angles, and negative shapes.